question number 9. That way you can kind of follow along with this. You're asked to simplify this particular expression. Remember that we were talking about for simplifying rational expressions, you're attempting to cancel factors from top to bottom. Okay, so the top part is already factored. It's a basic polynomial. But for the bottom part, you actually have a factorable polynomial. So let's use the AC method on this one. You can practice along if you are starting to get the hang of it. So we have v squared minus 6v plus 9. And we're trying to match. In this case, we have v as our variable. That does not change the placement of a, b, or c. Okay. So we're matching av squared plus bv plus c. So that tells me that a is 1, b -6, c 9, and then on the top is a times c, on the bottom is b. A times c is 9, b is -6. Okay, so we're trying to say, okay, what numbers multiply to 9 positive and add to -6? So this is that part again where you say, okay, I know what AC is equal to. So let me go ahead and find pairs of factors. I know 9 is 1 times 9 or 3 times 3. Well, is there any way that I can get these values, the 1 and the 9 or the 3 and the 3, to multiply to 9 and add to -6? Well, yes, if I make both those 3's negative, right? Okay, then they multiply to a positive 9, add to a -6. All right, so remember your plan. You're going to keep, come on. You're going to keep your first term, the v squared. You're going to keep your last term, the 9. And then you're going to separate this middle term into -3v and -3v. Okay. We're going to group first 2, group last 2. We're going to find the GCF. The GCF for the first term will be v, and the GCF for the second terms will be -3. So when I factor my GCF out from the first group, I'm left with v -3. And then I'm going to factor GCF out of the second group, and I'm left with v -3. Be careful here because you're taking out a -3. So you're taking 9 and dividing it by -3, which gives you a -3. Again, these terms should match. And then that becomes your new GCF. Factor that out. And then we also have a v -3 left over. From here. Okay, so let me kind of loosely box this so that we know it's not the final answer yet. I'm going to save that picture, and then I'm going to clear everything out. So from this, we have v minus 3 on top. We found out from the last screen that we have v minus 3 times v minus 3. So if you cancel v minus 3 from top to bottom, just be careful. This is still a factor. It's together. So cancel one of the v minus 3's from the top with one of them from the bottom. Now, what happens when you don't have anything left over on the top? If you cancel it all out, you need to put a 1. Okay. All right, let me save that. And then let me get into one more of these before I pause and kind of check in on you guys, see how things are going, and then we'll talk some details about Wednesday. All right, number 10. You could also use the AC method for the top here. I'm going to actually just do this one by trial and error. If you feel comfortable with what's happening, you can try it out. I know that these two factors, whatever I come up with, when they multiply back out, they should equal x squared minus 7x plus 12. Because I have an x squared in the front, I know that my first terms for my binomials will be x and x. And then I want 12 for these guys to multiply to, but I want, I actually don't like the way I'm explaining this. I'll just do it and then I'll explain it from there. Okay, so for 12, I can see that between 12 and 7, 3 and 4 are probably going to get me what I need. And then if I make them both negative, let's see what happens when we distribute back out. Okay, that will give me x squared minus 4x. And then negative 3x plus 12. Like terms. So yeah, that got me what I wanted. If you didn't like that method, still just use AC. It works every time. Okay, let me erase these and this. Okay, so this was our numerator. Now, when we're trying to factor the denominator, you can see that we have 48 and 3. It's going to have a GCF of 3 between them. If you already have a GCF that you can factor out of your polynomial, do that. Okay, and then this part here is actually going to take us to a different type of factor. Factoring method, difference of square. Essentially, if you have a squared minus b squared, it breaks into two binomials, a plus b, a minus b. So compare here. You have 16 minus x squared. 16 is 4 squared, and x squared is the quantity x squared. So hopefully you can see in this case, a would be 4 and b would be x. So you have a 4 plus x times 4 minus x. Okay, so what we have from this, we still have the 3 in the front, and then 16 minus x squared is going to break into 4 plus x, 4 minus x. Okay, let me go ahead and clear the bottom part. Okay, now this is often a confusing part for people because you're thinking like, okay, these kind of look familiar, like things I could cancel out, right? Like I have an x and a 4, and I have an x and a 4 and an x and a 4. The two factors that look most similar are these two here, right? But notice for the top, this x is positive and this 4 negative, okay? And then on the bottom, the 4 is the positive part and the x is the negative part. Okay, so there's a trick for this. You're gonna wanna factor a negative out. Ooh, ay, ay, ay. There we go. Okay, so 4 minus x, I can factor out a negative. That'll change this first portion. Kind of think 4 divided by a negative, that's a -1. That would give me negative 4. And negative x divided by a negative, that would give me a positive x. And then I can switch the order. Okay. So what I have here now, x minus 3 times x minus 4 divided by 3 times 4 plus x times negative x minus 4. Okay. So I can move this negative out to the front. It's just like multiplying a -1 in. These are all multiplied terms. So I can move the negative out to the front. X minus 3, x minus 4, 3 still down here, 4 plus x. And then I have my x minus 4 that will cancel out from top to bottom. Okay. So what I finally get from this is negative x minus 3 on top, and then 3 times 4 plus x on the bottom. Okay, let me save that, and then I'm going to stop the recording now and then check in with you guys. And Josh's session will be starting very shortly. Stop.